right, so let's jump right into it. What is your biggest fear as a new parent?
I have a long list of those.
Well, start with number one.
If he stops breathing in the middle of the night, I can watch him all day, but at night, if I'm asleep, I'm overly tired and I don't hear him or something happens and I don't wake up, you know,
That's definitely in my top three for sure. So that's why we invested in a breathing monitoring device,
yeah.
right?
Our monitor has a breathing like apparatus type thing and checks his breathing. It tells me. I turn it on and it's like he's breathing 40 breaths a minute or 35 and 25 and
Yeah, so we're those crazy parents that spent way too much money for that peace of mind. But
it's
is it peace of
yeah, I was
mind?
gonna say, is it a peace of mind?
I mean, like otherwise, I think I would probably be getting up in the middle of the night and going up to his chest and listening to his breathing. Is he breathing?
But do you
So
ever?
it's the only difference is I'm looking at the phone and checking is he breathing. So I feel like that's quicker, and I don't have to get out of bed to do that.
That's true. But do you ever like wake up, don't check the monitor because this is what I do, and I listen for his breathing. Like I get real quiet. I'm like, okay, I heard a little squeal or I
Oh
heard a
yeah,
breath,
yeah,
and it makes
that
me.
happens. That happens too.
Even when I'm checking the monitor, I'm like, is this monitor even accurate? And I keep staring at it until I see like a little movement of like a hand or a foot. I'm like, okay, we're good. That's what I look for.
All right.
Oh God, we're those people. We are those people.
All right. So my one of my top fears, and I haven't really shared this with you, but so bed sharing. A
Uh
lot of
huh.
people do bed sharing with their baby. We don't do that, but we do on occasion, like have Bryson lay with us on the couch. But I've had this repetitive thinking right when I wake up. It's happened like 6 or 7 times where I think he's in the bed with us, and I just either rolled over him
Oh my
or
God.
like he's there and he's not moving. And it's like, and it really feels like it's him but it's just like it's literally like the
Pillow or the
blankets.
blankets?
Yeah, and I'm like where's he at? I can't find him, and I'm
Well,
like, literally, this has happened 6 or 7 times, and it lasts for like 5 to 10 seconds before I realize, oh my gosh, I'm like an idiot. He's not even in the bed,
I was gonna say,
but
when have we ever put him in the bed?
I know we don't. But I don't know why that's happened. I guess, but
It's an irrational
it's
fear.
it's an irrational fear, and it's like a real fear because it's like I'm living it for like 5 to 10 seconds
Wow.
when I wake up, like,
And
and it's happened. But I think it's going away. It happened. I think the majority of the times it was like that first 2 weeks, and it's kind of slowed down, and that
well, the
hasn't happened.
good thing is, it's not recommended to put the baby in bed with you like a newborn.
Well, yeah,
That's
bed
good.
sharing is
That's usually later.
it's later, and
And are
then
you gonna be like fearful that you're rolling over our toddler at that point?
I don't agree with bed sharing with the toddler either, but I don't agree with it. I don't agree with me bed sharing with a toddler because I think I have like too many involuntary movements at night.
That's true. That's true.
So if I hit him with my arm or leg, I would never be able to forgive myself.
You don't
Uh,
even know that you actually like elbowed me yesterday.
oh, there you go. Okay.
I woke up and I was like, "Oh, hello."
So we're not bed sharing, but we are co-sleeping. Co-sleeping is when you're sharing the same room,
Room.
and we're having the debate: at what time do we stop that?
At what age do we move him
Right,
into his own room
right,
and let him do his thing?
right. So that's a debate for another episode. Let's move on.
Yeah.
All right. So SIDS is obviously everything sudden
Yes.
infant death syndrome, which we talked about a couple of things that are lead to increases in chances of that happening, and bed sharing is one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's some people that might argue against that and the benefits of that, but and then of course breathing, like how are they, you know, breathing? Are they proper? Is their crib properly set up so
Yeah.
there's nothing that they can get their mouth caught in or
No
suffocate?
blankets,
Are they
no
overheat? Are they
bumpers.
overheated?
Yeah.
So that's obviously a huge a huge fear.
which we
Huge
check
fear.
we check the temperature a lot, or you do, because it's on our monitor too.
Oh yeah, the temperature of the room.
Of the room, we're always checking it. Like, is this good enough? Does he need socks? Does he not need socks? Does
Well,
he
that's just
need
more like basic comfort level. But
yeah,
obviously, we've also had fears of him having a fever, which is it's going to happen eventually.
yeah.
Fortunately, we haven't had that happen yet, but it's a constant fear that
Oh,
we
yeah.
have. I mean, we've checked his temperature
Temperature.
one too many times.
Not too many times, but we're always like feeling his head and making sure. We may have checked it the recommended way, which is uncomfortable for them, but we
It's
had to.
the
We were
rectal
worried.
thermometer. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I know. It's uncomfortable for them, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a fear because they can't express what they're feeling. That's what bothers me.
Yeah.
Like we can say, "Oh, I don't feel good," but then they just cry, and so you're like, "Is that a hungry cry? Is that a sick cry? Is that
Right.
a cry of like I'm tired?" So those are, yeah,
Right.
definitely.
I mean, we had a call today. I was like, is something wrong with him because he didn't eat as much as he did yesterday? And so it's like everything is this normal? Is he
Oh,
okay?
yeah, that little
Yeah.
spot on him. I'm like, "What is this?" He had a little baby acne. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, he has baby acne."
If your kid has baby acne, don't worry. That's not an issue. I don't worry about that. You're worrying about baby acne?
Well, I was looking because I was like, "Oh, is it spreading?" These are
Okay.
things you look at. I stare at him all day.
I worry a lot more about our kid being in the car on I-95 in South Florida. What do you think about that?
That's true. I do. I driving on highways in Florida. If you're from Florida, can be a bit scary.
South Florida, the further south you go, the scarier it tends to get,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
No, I agree. I was driving on it today without him, and I was just like, "Ooh, there are some crazy drivers. Crazy." But speaking of Florida, one of my biggest fears, one of my biggest fears, are oceans and pools. Like they terrify me for infants, toddlers. The moment he starts crawling, I want to put him into some sort of swim like lesson because
Yeah, and in Florida, and actually, I mean, really anywhere, you try to get them in lessons as quickly as possible.
but it's something I've had a fear even before
Right.
I was pregnant. It's because my mom has a pool. We live by the water and it takes 2 seconds. And I know someone, unfortunately, whose kid got out, they didn't see, crawled into a pool and
Right.
passed away. So it's terrifying, So that's probably top two fears of mine.
Okay. Yeah, it's a big one for sure. I can't imagine, and I mean, we're looking at new houses right now, and do we get a pool? Do we not get a pool? And if we have a pool, then we have to have the gate up
Oh,
at all
yeah.
times, and so, but
Yep.
even then, like how quickly, can your kid escape, and
Oh,
at what age can they also, even if they're doing lessons, will they be able to survive on their own?
right.
But as far as infants in the ocean, no.
Well, I'm just saying.
Not anytime.
I'm just saying,
soon.
like
No, I know
it
what you're
is
saying.
scary. I see kids playing and they like reach the edge of the water and there's like a wave and it just crashes and it just sucks
Right.
them in.
Right.
You see?
What about development? Are you scared?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Because we live in a world where I look and there's obviously autism and things like that, and if they're not developing at the right ages, that's always been a concern. It's always a concern of mine. What can we do to help him in his development? Even like his little skull, that it's still closing. It's still closing. So it's like so many things I look at.
Right. That's like a blend of safety and development. So yeah, to close the loop on the safety, I'm always constantly worried about him being dropped, whether it's I'm carrying him or somebody else is carrying him, because he is so fragile right now as far as development goes. I mean, you feel like, are you doing everything that you can to help him develop? I mean, obviously there's
tummy time.
Right.
Are you doing enough back? Things like that.
Right. What are we doing wrong that's gonna impact him for the rest of his life? I mean, obviously there's things that happen, whether
Out of our
you would have
control.
done right. We don't know, as far as autism goes. We don't know enough about like how does that happen. What is it, nature versus nurture? How much is nature versus nurture?
Mm,
We don't know that,
we
and I
really
think
don't.
there's a lot of different things with regarding development. I, for example, up until I was around 2 years old, I was considered deaf. I
Yeah.
could not hear, and my parents really didn't know what was going on with me as far as that goes. And fortunately, they were able to put tubes in my ear, and I've recovered to be somewhat okay today. I know some of you might not agree with it, but so
But you hear pretty well. You're good.
yeah, I hear pretty well. But I even said to you yesterday, I was like, I don't know, can he hear okay? Like I was talking and he wasn't looking
But that's one of the things, milestones,
right.
is following sounds.
Right. And at
And
what
we
age does he follow sounds?
exactly, it's like 3 months or whatever it is, but he definitely follows sounds. We play
Right.
with toys and he will follow the toy. Is it the sound or is it the colors? We don't know.
Right. So is it normal? Don't feel like you're being crazy because every parent goes through this.
Every
You're not
parent's
alone.
crazy.
Every parent's crazy. Some are more crazy than others, like us, with the hand washing and the OCD and all that, but all the other things we mentioned. So you got great company.
That's us.
Until next time.
Adios.
Bye.